two different newsletters. So we have the newsletter that you get virtually online. If you hopefully sign up for those, has a lot of the updates for the Sheriff's Office and some of our events and just some service updates that we have on there. And then we also have a more sort of toned down, just a one-pager for our, just letting you all know what we're doing. So part of our newsletter is that we have our upcoming events. So for May, and again, I have made copies and they're in the back if you want to grab one on your way out. We have we'll be at the Aloha Farmers Market. So we are usually there about 2 or 3 times a year. We have a booth. We usually bring some sort of fun vehicle, fun swag for kids and adults alike. So you'll see us there. We're also at the Bethany Spring Market and Bethany Concerts. So we're usually there at every concert, Bethany Spring Market in May. And then a big event that we do every year in May is our canine trials. So hopefully you've been to that. If you haven't, it is a free family event, Saturday, May 16th. It's from about 10 to 1. You'll see canine, so police dogs, compete against each other with like fastest dog or who can find the hidden person in like a box. There's a lot of cool events, like the perpetrator take down someone wearing the dog bite suit. It's really fun. It's all very safe and fun event. The dogs love it. They get a trophy, whoever gets like the most points at the end. It's a pretty big deal for the handlers and the dog alike. So it's a fun event, again, free. And then aside, beyond May, we're also at the Washington County Fair. So we're there all 10 days. We're inside at the Wingspan at a booth. And then you'll also see our deputies out in the fairgrounds, some wearing cowboy hats, which is fun to see them be able to kind of wear that during that time. And National Night Out, that's also coming up in August. So if you have your neighborhood wants to do a barbecue and you want our motors or our big SWAT vehicle or anything, a drone team to come by and chat with you and kind of show you the tools that our deputies use, every day almost, we can do that. So it's obviously free. You just have to register, or you can, again, let me know. I have my cards with me. I can assist you with that as well. And I will pass it over to you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you. Friday night at 6. Party people. All right. No, it's good to see our deputies. Just talking about the fair, our deputies do like those cowboy hats, for goodness sake. So if you see one of them wearing one, tell them it looks good. You have no idea how far that goes. But a couple of things we wanted to cover, kind of in the spirit of CPO communication. My venerable colleague here did a good job covering almost all that stuff. A busy summer, if you couldn't hear, coming up. The county fair, very heavily attended. Your Washington County Fair is a big fair, so we are there in force as well, mostly for the corn dogs, but also for the public safety aspect of that. National Night Out. You remember when National Night Out was little? There was just a few of them, and now there's many of them. And if you've been to some of the larger ones, there's hundreds, if not thousands of people that come through a couple of those. So it's become a big event for us. So some of those resources, like armored vehicles and the dogs and all those are always really popular. We try to get them around to everywhere. It is a little bit resource dependent, so you'll have to drive the armored vehicle yourself over, but we can make arrangements. But we're looking forward to that. A couple of kind of current events that I think that you might find interesting as to what the Sheriff's Office is doing right now, kind of what are our irons in the fire and what do we got going on. One of them is DFR. Has anyone heard of DFR? I'll tell you what the letters stand for if you haven't. It's drone as a first responder. So we've heard on the news about drones everywhere, right? They fly around and do these. We've had a drone team for some number of years that will get out and find missing people, get overwatch for safety concerns for some of the tactical officers during tactical events. They can, get overwatch. We've even used it with the fire department, which is a big partnership we have now for these things. But DFR is a new type of program where these things have a central hub at a couple of areas within Washington County. And when a call for service comes out, they'll actually beat the deputy there and look and make sure that we're sending the right resources to the right things. A good example of that would be a traffic crash, where this drone can get overhead in very little time and let us know, hey, do we need fire trucks? Do we need, people look like this could be an injury crash versus a non-injury crash. So it can really help us manage our resources well. And in some more dynamic events where there's, fights or fleeing subjects, we'll sick the drone on them, and we'll go find them that way. It's quite satisfying to find bad guys that don't think they're going to get found. So it helps us do that. But it's a new technology, so we've only had a kind of a trial period that we've run, and we've been very satisfied with the results so far. There are some troubleshooting we've got to do with that in terms of staffing and how it actually works, but it's an exciting new technology that really helps us do our job very well. So we're looking forward to what that has in store for us. A couple of things that you may have been aware of just from past CPO meetings or past updates relative to staffing. Our staffing has been a challenge over the last number of years. And we're happy to say that we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. We've started to hire quality staff back. It takes a long time to train them. So we have a whole bunch of deputies, both in the jail and on the patrol side, that are in training. But it takes a while to get them to where they're full-fledged solo deputies. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. The people that we wanted are in-house and continue to come in-house. And so we're happy that we are kind of out of the proverbial deep woods with that, and we're into a little bit of a clearing here. So that's good. Along with that is our body-worn camera program. Body-worn cameras have been around now for many years. And they have been a challenge both cost-wise, data storage-wise, all the way through the justice system, from arrest to prosecution to later. These present a logistical challenge for the justice system to make sure that, think about it this way, if we have a body-worn camera video that takes an hour to film, it takes an hour to watch from everybody that watches it after that. So it's kind of this meta problem, right? But we're making large strides on condensing the time it takes to do things like that, even from the district attorney's side and all of that. So the program is actually expanding. We're now going to expand the body-worn camera program into the jail, which is going to help even further document a lot of the interactions that we have, showing our professional staff doing professional things like we want them to. So in any case, we're excited about that. Last kind of big issue, just kind of on the horizon, and it's probably come up to you from a variety of different ways, is that the jail expansion. We have a very big jail, but it's the second smallest per capita in the state of Oregon. Did you know that? So for the amount of people that we have, it's a small jail, even though by jail sizes in Oregon, it's a big jail. But for the amount of people we have, it needs to be bigger to serve the community in the way that a jail should. So there are many, many folks involved in that planning process, and that certainly won't happen overnight. But we've recognized that need, and even from the facility side, our government electeds and all of our agency leadership are all kind of in step that, yes, this needs to happen, and we're all leaning in that direction. So with that, that's kind of all the updates that I have. Can you think of anything else? Or you?
No update-wise. The only thing, I guess, if we're open to questions, obviously, regardless of if we touch on the topic or not, we're here for you. But beyond today's meeting, of how things look, we're here for whatever questions you may have in the future. Okay. I'm available to still send dashboards. I'll get to you, Jim. I gotta see you. I can still send dashboards, whatever, quarterly, because that's when they're updated. So just because we're not meeting as frequently or whatever it may be, I can still send you information. Me or Megan or Tabitha, whoever your contact is for your CPO or for your group, we all do the same thing again, so we can all be of service. If you have questions, you want to know what's happening in your neighborhood, we will be here for you.
One last issue I forgot to mention, but it's kind of near and dear to my heart, and perhaps many of people in the room have had some experience with it, is phone scams. We've continued to see these. You've probably all received these calls. I even got a call. This is going to blow your mind. I got a call from Sergeant Jordan Weston. So it was crushing because I learned that I had this warrant and that I was demoted. So that was a double strike, but you can see how hilarious these things get. They're using real names of real staff, and they can be awfully convincing. But the thing to remember, and please share with family, share with friends, share with people. We've made numerous public or social media posts along these lines, and we'll continue to do so to educate the public. The sheriff's office or no police agency is going to call you about warrants or owed money or even jury duty or any of that. You will not get a phone call about those things. Or a text. For anyone that didn't hear that, she's seen some people post that they've got very sensitive information. Social Security number is what she mentioned. They will. In our technological day and age, unfortunately, a lot of our personal information is easier to find than ever. And so they can be quite convincing by telling you a lot of stuff that you would think only someone that, should know would know. Not so. It is unfortunately very easy for very sensitive information to make it a lot of different directions. So just be, be sure that we will not call you, text you about any of that stuff. If there's ever an issue where you're not sure, you are welcome to call the sheriff's office at any time and hang up on those folks, and we'll set you straight and help you know that, hey, these are not the police, because the police will tell you themselves. Along with that, so probably lots of comments. Any people have experienced that. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of nodding heads, we have seen that. So we are available for questions at any time, even by email later, whatever. My boss is in the room, I'm going to try that again. Chief Deputy Jim Wheaton. He's one of my favorite people, by the way. And I'm not just saying that because he's my boss. Yeah, that's right. No, but anyway, it was a pleasure to be with you. A question back there. Yes, sir. I can't. CD, do you want to address the ALPR kind of issue? Yeah, good question. Automatic license plate readers is the question, and there's a lot.
Yes, thank you for the question. So the question in the back was automated license plate readers, or ALPR. It's also known as LPR. So this is technology. We've actually used it for almost decades at this point. We had it a long time ago. We got rid of it really mainly for the technical issue that it was roof mounted, and it was very difficult to wash the cars, actually, believe it or not. That's the problem that we were facing. So we got rid of it for those types of reasons. The technology has now changed to where we're looking at in-vehicle. Right now, as you've probably heard the term flock. Anybody raise your hand if you've heard that term out there? Flock started off out as a piece of equipment, and it very quickly became an issue across the United States for various reasons. Right now, we have at the Washington County Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office was approved a grant for 7 flock cameras. Essentially, these are big trailers. You might have seen them in Home Depots, Targets, those sorts of things. And the purpose right now is for retail theft missions. So basically, what will happen is an organized crime ring will go into, let's say, Target or Home Depot, and they'll steal a bunch of things, and then they'll move over to these other places where these flock cameras can link those together. So that's the reason we have them. We have actually put a pause on our program temporarily to make sure that we have worked out all the bugs. There were a lot of questions, you can imagine, from the community, a lot of information floating around there. So we really wanted to make sure we had the proper information. We, at the Sheriff's Office executive team, brought in the flock leadership and actually laid out all of our concerns. And so it's really an excellent way for us to find out for ourselves what happened with some of these issues. So as of today, we have 0 automatic license plate readers out in the community working, but we are certainly looking towards that tech. As you can imagine, it'd be a significant tool for fighting crime. Did that answer your question, sir? Excellent.
Sir, go ahead. OSP has them on the freeways. I don't know the answer to it. I would have to ask them.
They did get a federal grant for some sort of, yeah. So there are grants out there for other agencies who do have those. I think they're fixed mounted ones, but we don't interact with those. We don't know at that point. I'm sorry, the question was travel times?
So actually the travel times are actually derived from like numerous other sources, one of which is actually metadata from our phones. Most people have apps like Waze and different and Google Maps and things that are constantly using your data to figure out how long it's taking you to get places. That is a major source. The license plate reader itself is a repository for license plate information. And so that's what it's doing. It's gathering what cars were there when. And so there was some concerns just to kind of expand on what the concerns were. There was immigration concerns, and you had different community groups that were concerned for different reasons. Our use of these was even never directed toward that anyway. We have some legal barriers to that anyway. Ours was to connect, criminal activity to the people that are doing it and finding it. We find a lot of stolen cars that way. We find a lot of things going on there. But travel times are derived numerous different ways. The signs themselves that have readers also have active radar on them. And so, sir, yes. District 4 candidates. No, sir. You're in the clear. Yeah. He gave you the warning, not us. Yeah. So hopefully that answered question. I wish I was more of an expert on that, but I happen to know that. I was reading a couple of articles myself about it. It is a question for ODOT. They would be the keepers of the expert info on that. So any other questions or anything else while you got us? Yep, one more update.
First off, really hard act to follow these two. It's just always, I'm so proud to know that I'm working with the best of the best here. It's really excellent. So great work to this crew. One thing I just wanted to remind everybody, I know because of the CPO changes, right, we're going to see a lot of new faces, different faces in different venues and things like that. So really want to level set everybody, and we're going to see a lot of folks that live in the cities now combining with folks that live out in the urban areas and even rural areas in some of those. So just want to hit the point home crystal clear that no matter where you live in Washington County, we serve you as the sheriff's office in some sort of capacity. We might not be the first ones to go there on a lower priority incident that if you live in the city, but like Lieutenant Weston was talking about with the drone technology, these are all interagency teams. The mental health response team, this is where a deputy goes out or an officer goes out and they have a mental health clinician riding with them. That is quarterbacked and housed out of the sheriff's office, the SWAT team, those things. So we sort of help bring a lot of the cities together. So again, just wherever you live, we do serve you. So you might see some Washington County Sheriff's Office stuff, and you might see us at your events, and that's the main reason why. Just wanted to talk about it. Yeah, one jail, juvenile, those sorts of things. Yes, sir, we have a question. That's a really great question. We were actually just looking into that, and you're on the patrol command team, so you probably have the latest on that. But it really does depend on where you live, because we have the more urban areas, which is the enhanced sheriff's patrol district, and then we have the rural areas. And you can imagine out in Timber or outside of Gales Creek, there sometimes is only one or two deputies out there, because we do our staffing based on a metric known as officers per thousand, and so there are less officers per thousand in the rural spaces. The enhanced sheriff's patrol district, where some of you might live. These are the areas right outside of the cities of Hillsborough, Tigard, Beaverton. They are up in Bethany, Aloha, Cedar Mill, all of those areas that are outside the cities. Those areas have city level policing services. So if you have the latest numbers, I'll pass it to you so you can see. I know we were doing an analysis on that.
Yeah, numbers, we're working on kind of an official report on that. The numbers are complicated, as you can imagine. And we could go into it, but I will a little because it's a good question. How long does it take a deputy to get to a call for service? Depends on the call for service, depends on the call type, it depends on where, it depends on why they're going, right? And so we've taken actually quite a dive at getting through that. So we're giving you really open hands information like, hey, by the way, when there's a priority 1 or 2, which would be a get there right now license sirens type of call, it's taking this long. Also, there's some nuances where, well, you got to show up to this disagreement between motorists on the side of the road halfway there. Oh, by the way, they're fighting now. Oh, now it's lights. So it turns into that call. So is that really the response? It's a complicated number. I know a lot of large urban police agencies tout this number as kind of a comparison. It's a hard comparison if you want to get down to it, because there's 100 factors, maybe 1,000 factors that go into actually determining that number. We hope to actually have that to report actually really soon, that we can break it down for you by call type and response type. There's also some nuance where we use humans to do this job. So the deputy shows up, gets out of their car and deals with it. Gets back in their car later and goes, oh, I forgot to arrive. Wow, it just took you 17 minutes to get there. No, it wasn't. I was in the parking lot. Oh, well, okay. So getting that number is what we're working toward, but it's a complicated issue. Yeah, the question is, if the deputy's not close, do you hand it off to someone else? Almost always. If it's a priority call, we live in the mutual aid space where it goes back and forth too. If a city is if tied up on a big call and can't make it to this other call that came out, we're absolutely going to backstop them and get to that call quick. So it really is one team in that regard. So yeah, great question. Miss, yes? Well, I'm happy to say that we have turned a corner. We are getting more qualified officers than we were experiencing in the last 2 years. The barriers are many. I think that we would need a professor to come up here and sort of give you opine on their opinion on that. We certainly all have ours, as being in this business for a couple of decades. Generation by generation, police work is viewed differently, like it always has been. And so the pendulum swings. Public opinion, public support of the job waxes and wanes, as it does with so many other professions. So I think we naturally see some difficulties come up every few years because we're going to. How much of that is the problem we're having any given day? Anybody's guess. We still have very high hiring standards. We have very high background standards. And those standards have to be met. We did not adjust with the times to lessen the standard. We felt very strongly that we're going to keep the standard very, very high for our deputies. And so in that spirit, I hope we're trending in the right direction, and I think that's good news. But it's a really, really good question. That's I think we probably have 100 opinions in the room about that too, and I bet you 90 of them are right. Yeah. There are always those economic factors, right? People are raising families and doing things, and so they've got to make decisions about this work versus another type of work they could do. But the men and women that do this job are some of the most noble people I've ever met in my life. I'm biased, but I'm right, so that works. So in any case, I'm happy to say that.
Speaking of noble,
yeah.
We have our partners from the fire department.
That's right.
Or water.
Yeah.
One of them, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Good evening. I'm Justin Dyke with Tualatin Valley Water District. We're the urban services water provider for much of urban unincorporated Washington County. That's your Cooper Mountain, Cedar Hill, Cedar Mill, Bethany areas, parts of Metzger, Garden Home areas. So happy to provide a couple updates tonight and see some faces in the room that I recognize from the CPO meetings. One of the biggest updates we have is that we've been building a new water treatment plant and water supply system in coordination with a couple of our community partners at the cities of Hillsborough and Beaverton. We're really looking forward to that system being completed by the end of this year. We're scheduling for a late 2026 commissioning of the new water treatment plant. So we've been doing a lot of outreach in our community, letting our folks know about these upcoming changes to their water service, when they can expect those changes, what they can expect as we get closer to commissioning a new water treatment plant, what that means for the water service for our region. It's a really big thing for us. So as we get closer to it, we'll be advertising much more and mailing more postcards to our customers. We want everyone to rest assured and know that all times we are serving water that meets your safe drinking water standards. We're really excited about a new water system that's going to meet additional seismic standards for our region now and to come for future generations, and enhanced water quality throughout the area. So when you see these postcards and you hear from us about your water service and a new water treatment plant at the end of this year, we encourage you to go to our website, tvwd.org/WWSS. Learn a lot more about the treatment processes. If you have questions about them, I can do my best to answer some of those here tonight as well. And also just remain engaged as we begin to transition water service later in this year once the treatment plant is online. It'll be done in an orderly process phased throughout our service area, so not everyone will get water from the new treatment plant at the same time. So we'll do our best to announce those dates to customers as they affect each individual part of our service territory. It's going to be an exciting time for us, and I'm sure filled with lots of questions from our customers. We're really happy to answer all of those. And as well, in the back, I have flyers on that new water treatment process in English and Spanish. Please feel free to grab them as well. Sometimes a picture can do a lot more than I can do with explaining how a water treatment plant works. It's a complicated, big, large piece of infrastructure. But a picture might help you do a little bit more of understanding where water enters, exits, what it does in the middle, and so forth. Let's see. All right. Additionally, on May the 6th, we are doing a virtual webinar on irrigation controller setup. May is a great time for people who have large yards, gardens, and so forth, and do a lot of summer irrigating. We see a lot of our customers have their water bills increase by volume, typically twice in water volume as we get into the summer. You're watering your lawns, your gardens, and so forth. Your kids are playing with the slip and slide, maybe when you're not looking and leaving the hose running. But we would like to offer an advanced service to our customers to really let them come in and ask us about their irrigation systems. How can they learn to use their water system controllers as efficiently as possible from some of our experts? So on May the 6th, we'd be happy to have you join us at noon online. The website is tvwd.org/talkandwater. Please come. If you have any questions about how to set up your irrigation system for the summer season, how to use water as efficiently possible outdoors as the weather gets warmer, we'd love to have you answer all your questions there as well. Really look forward to that. We are also offering a customer assistance program. So for TVWD customers, you may be eligible for a 20% discount on the water bill portion of your bill. We do co-bill with Clean Water Services, so this discount would be for TVWD customers on the drinking water component of their bill. And customers who are having a financial emergency once per 12-month period can get a emergency assistance as well. So I have a flyer for that program, both of those programs, I should say, in the back of the room, English and Spanish as well on the flyer. Really want to make sure that members of the community are aware that we do offer these programs to support our community, make sure folks are able to have as much financial assistance as possible as they come, especially as we come into the summer. Water usage will increase as the days get longer and warmer, so we want to make sure people are aware of these programs. We have them. And again, as always, ask any questions tonight or of our staff, our customer service team, about your income qualifications for those programs or how that could affect your bill. We can always do a little digging into your bill based on your individual water account, how a program like that could help you. Now, in early May, we will have our 2026 annual water quality report available. This is a regulated report we do once a year, and it shows all of our findings from our annual water quality sampling around our district every year. We talk a lot about other things that we're doing to maintain the health of the water system. That report will be out in early May on our website. We'll include information in our May digital newsletter and bill inserts for those people who prefer their bill to be received in mail and paper form, making them aware of how to get that water quality report. We try and make it as interesting as possible, but as you can believe, it is a regulatory report about your water quality, so it can be dry. It does have a big data table with lots of words look like they're written in Latin, because they are, but we do our best to make it entertaining to read through and informative for the layperson. We don't expect you all to be water quality scientists to read it, so we do our best to break it down into common language and make it approachable. Please give it a look. All right, and then a couple more updates, a little more specifically around our service territory. So we have 18 current infrastructure projects around our service area. I want to highlight a couple of them, but not without first saying that our 18 infrastructure projects are paid for by our customers through their water bills as a special district. We reinvest that money in the water system on an ongoing basis. The two of the largest ones, at Taylor's Ferry and 65th, we are replacing 2 reservoirs. They were at the end of their expected life. That's engineering talk for needed to be replaced. With 2 pre-stressed concrete reservoirs, a pump station, and an equipment storage facility. The equipment for storage facility, it sounds kind of boring. I think it's my favorite part of the site because it will improve our emergency response times to our Metzger service area. So if you live out near the Taylor's Ferry Road, sometimes in the past, if we get a water main break or a hit hydrant or something in the middle of the night, we have to respond with crews and equipment to do those repairs. Having that equipment, trailers, hydrants preloaded, stored out a new service yard out in the Taylor's Ferry area will improve our response times, and we're really looking forward to that. The 2 reservoirs, they are already online and serving water. They are built to withstand a 9.0 Cascadia subduction earthquake, so a huge improvement to our Metzger service area. Every time we build a new large piece of water infrastructure now, that is our new standard. We developed that standard when we started doing the engineering work for the Willamette water supply system. That's the new water treatment plant. And we look forward to carrying that standard of a 9.0 survivability forward in all of our infrastructure advancements. We recently rebuilt a pump station on Cooper Mountain near 189th and Hart. That has the same standards there as well. So we are continuing forward, planning ahead with earthquake, seismic survivability for our equipment. We recognize that water service is a critical service for a day-to-day, but in times of emergency after an earthquake, it is even more critical than you could imagine. So we want to make sure we're able to return service to our customers as fast as possible. So out on Taylor's Ferry Road, we got about a year left, maybe 9 months of construction as we finish up the pump station, the equipment storage yard. So we really appreciate the patience of those neighbors near Taylor's Ferry, 65th, Florence Lane, right at the edge of the county line. We have been not a great neighbor for about a year, and we got about a year left of not being a great neighbor. I would say normally on a day-to-day, living next to a water reservoir is really nice. Reservoirs can't throw parties. They're pretty quiet on Friday nights. They don't bring a lot of traffic, except when you got to tear one down and rebuild it from the ground up. It's not exactly a party, but it's not quiet either. So thank you to any of our neighbors in the room that are in that area. We appreciate your patience. We will get this project done as efficiently as possible and return these neighborhoods to nice, quiet places to live. Speaking of other places we're making a mess, Todd Street and Linda Lane, that is just west of Murray, that's the Marlene Village area. We are replacing 4,500 feet of water main. It's going on right now. I believe we're right around the 1,000-foot mark of new water main being replaced. Should be completed by the end of July, and that project, I'm happy to say, is partially funded by a Washington County Community Development Block Grant. So we're really happy to work with the county on that and replace this aging water main throughout the Marlene Village neighborhood. 4,500 feet of water main is no easy undertaking. We're doing a lot of rolling road closures. We've challenged the community there with just noise, open trench cutting to replace water mains. They are all buried under the street. Getting to them and putting in new ones is not quiet. It is not without dust. So again, in the Marlene Village neighborhood, we really thank those folks. We are happy to replace those water mains and give you a new upgraded water system. It's our pleasure to serve those folks as well. And I wanted to make one other quick comment as we end our final CPO meeting. I've attended, I believe, 1 and 7 for CPOs off and on for a while. 4M and 3 have been my mains. So I wanted to wear my shorts tonight because we've been meeting on Zoom for so long. Most of you have never seen anything other than the upper half of me. So I thought I'd still finish it by wearing shorts because I'm usually hiding the rest of me under a desk on Zoom. So it's a pleasure to see all of you in full tonight. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about your water service. If you're a TVWD customer, and even if you're not, Happy to answer any questions I can about water. Jim, I'm going to limit you to 10 questions, though. Sir. Yes. So that requirement was looked into. We did a long-term water supply technical study on that. The dam at Hag Lake was one of the options, but due to the seismic vulnerabilities and cost associated with it, it ended up being more cost-effective for us to pursue the Willamette Water Supply Project in coordination with Hillsborough, and then later on, Beaverton joined that project as well. So it's not that we don't need more water, it's that that project was not the most cost-effective in terms of an infrastructure investment for us and our ratepayers, our customers. So we invested or allocated that into the Willamette Water Supply as an alternative. And that full long-term water supply memo is available on our website if you're ever curious or need help falling asleep. Jim? We couldn't close the CPOs with a few from you. In the red, I'll give you some more time, Jim. In the red, yes, sir. The water treatment plant on Fernhill Road that's the Joint Water Commission. It's operated by the city of Hillsborough. We are co-owners in it so it's Hillsborough, TVWD, Beaverton, Forest Grove, Cornelius, and North Plains. Did I get that right, Mr. Calloway? Sounds good, right? Yes. So we are co-owners in that. It's operated and run by the city of Hillsborough. It's a great water treatment plant. Yes, they just received a grant to do chlorine disinfection improvements. So all potable drinking water has a small residual of a chlorine product in it for disinfection. The Joint Water Commission, I would preface, if you want more exact information, the city of Hillsborough would be their water department would be the group to ask this question. Though they did get a FEMA grant to improve their chlorine storage and chlorine type there. I believe they're changing to a liquid chlorine. It's safer for transportation to get it to the site, and some other seismic improvements for that water treatment plant. So they will have construction out there for a while. Yep, that's what I understand the current endeavor is out there, although they do have a great website. I think it's jwc.org or jwcwater.org. Would have more information on that, but it is related to essentially an infrastructure improvement in their chlorine processing for the water treatment plant, and they had just finished a sizable expansion of that plant for future growth, future development, and need for water for the area. All right. Without further ado, I'll hand it back to Ika.
Big thank you to our service providers for providing updates. I would love to turn it over to Kathleen, wherever you are, and to start with our candidate forum.
Before I get started, our moderator has an announcement.
I respectfully request that all of the candidates for the District 4 seat for the Washington County Board of Commissioners go to the multi-purpose room. We have to have another drawing for who goes first and who goes when. Yes, ma'am? We would like all of the candidates for that seat to be out of the room when we ask the questions for the chair. They'll be asked the same questions.
This is being recorded. They can watch it later.
They can watch it later. We made the decision. It's done. It's finished.
Yeah. Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for coming. We're very excited to help with this candidate forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that works to empower voters. We do not support or oppose any candidate or party. Copies of our print voters' guides are available in the back, both in English and in Spanish. They cover the statewide elections. For information on the candidates and issues locally, go to our website, vote411.org. There are cards in the back with information on that. The Oregon Secretary of State recommends that if you are going to be returning your ballot by mail in this election, that you place it in the mail by May 12th. We have questions about postmarks from the post office, and there is a issue before the U.S. Supreme Court that may impact the ability of the county to count your ballot if it arrives after May 19th. So after May 12th, take advantage of the ballot drop boxes. There's one back here. Have them in the ballot drop box by May 19th, 8 p.m. So our first, Eric Schmidt is our moderator. He is going to start our first candidate forum for county chair.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thanks to the League of Women Voters in Washington County for putting this candidates forum together. As moderator of this candidates forum, it is my task to keep things moving smoothly, peacefully, and fairly, and I will. Each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement, and that is being determined by a draw and was determined by a draw earlier this evening. There will be timers with signs that say 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. The moderator will ask 4 questions from the community. If you have a question, put it in the box out there, and we'll determine if it should be asked tonight or not. Candidates will have time for 1-minute responses to those questions. The timers will be in front with displays that say, signs that say 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. The order of responses will rotate. Each candidate will have time for a 2-minute closing statement. So, with that said, let's bring the candidates for Washington County Board of Commissioners seat at large to the podium. Ladies, if you will. There are 3 announced candidates for this seat: Pam Treese, Nafisa Fye, and Jenny Camprath. Nafisa Fye told us on Wednesday that she would not be able to participate in tonight's forum. So, by the luck of the draw, I'll let her get seated. If you want to sit next to each other, it's the cameras are going to get you no matter where you sit. Okay, so Ms. Camprath, you have the first opening statement. 2 minutes, please. Oh, Pam, you go first. You do number 1. Yes, you do.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Jenny Camprath, and I'm running for county chair because this is personal for me. This is my home. I've lived in Washington County for over 30 years. This is my children's home and now my grandchildren's home. We love it here, but if things don't change like many others, we won't stay. I'm here to fight for my family and for yours. I'm not a politician. I don't talk in politispeak or use acronyms that only other government insiders understand. I don't use all popular buzzwords that when overused lose any meaning. I'm here to bring real change, and that's what happens when people like me are willing to step up and challenge the status quo. I'm here as the outsider to do just that. You can't keep electing the same people and expect different results. As an outsider, I can enter office with no old allegiances, no obligations, just to focus on solving problems and getting things done. Some think my lack of political experience is a weakness. I think it's a strength. Policy and procedure can be learned, but the ability to boldly lead cannot. I've spent years building working relationships with businesses of all sizes and kinds in multiple states as a sales leader. I can bring this relationship building, skill building with me to help build a new Washington County that better serves the people who call this home. It's time for a newcomer to lead the way. If you're ready for real change, then I stand ready to deliver it. I'm Jenny Camprath, and I'm asking for your vote to bring change to Washington County.
Thank you. Ms. Treese, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here today. It's great to be surrounded by civically engaged people. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and to our CPOs for making this possible. You may not know, but before running for office, I had a long and diverse career, including being a public school teacher, a small business owner, and a nonprofit leader. We all know our region has been facing tremendous challenges for years, and unfortunately, our challenges have only become more difficult and more compounded in the last year. With the turbulence we've seen from the federal government, I have become even more steadfast in my belief that local resiliency is critical and dedicated, experienced leadership in the role of chair is necessary to guide us through this crisis, while at the same time we manage the day-to-day complexities of running a county of our size. I bring to the role of chair decades of experience across the public and private sectors, and I'm committed to working together in collaboration with all stakeholders to achieve results for our community. I am proud of the work I've done during my time on the Commission to save the West Slope Community Library, to open the Opal, a senior living and LGBTQIA+ friendly affordable housing complex, and to champion the Center for Addictions Triage and Treatment, or the CAT, a first-of-its-kind facility to support people experiencing behavioral health challenges and substance use disorder. I want to add, especially in this setting, that I know we need to continue working on our countywide approach to community engagement. There is more work to do, and I am not satisfied with where we are, and I commit to that work. We need a chair who can build relationships with all our local partners and stakeholders. I'm running on my record of building collaboration to achieve meaningful results. I will be honored to serve as your county chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Treese, the first question will go to you. You have 1 minute for an answer. And the question is, what priorities do you have for Washington County's revenue and budget?
Well, the priorities that I have for Washington County revenue and budget is, first of all, to get through our budget process and to meet what our expectations in revenue are. We are mandated by the state to have a balanced budget. Unlike the federal government that can run a deficit, we have to stay within our budgetary confines. So I'm working closely with our budget committees, and those budget committees are made up of residents and also participants from the county commission, as well as our staff, to look forward to making sure that our budget is a reflection of the needs that our residents have, while at the same time staying within our means or the money that we have. To grow that budget base, we need to really push on economic resiliency and grow our economic base. That's where we will be able to survive in a healthy manner for our county. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Ms. Camprath, would you like the question again? Okay. What priorities do you have for Washington County's revenue and budget?
My vision is to grow the economic base of Washington County. We need to cut the red tape and and regulation to help businesses grow and thrive in Washington County. Washington County is a home-based county, and I would use all of the power that has to help cut the regulation and rules that are stifling business, stopping building, and cutting down the economic development of this county.
You have 30 more seconds.
I'm done.
You're good?
I'm a quick answer.
Okay. You get the next question, and it's from our audience. And it reads, I recently read that clean water services costs will increase by more than 100%. What will your role be in terms of rate setting?
Well, I think that is, because I'm not currently on the board, that is the job of the current board. We heard about the clean water services debacle, where there was no oversight of the CEO. She was making, $550,000 a year with $400,000 in expenses over 4 years. I think people are really, really mad about that. They're mad about the commissioners that went on 5-star lavish Hawaiian vacations on the tax dollars, while we're all sitting at home now going to pay higher rates. I'm not in those meetings. I don't know how it came about, so I can't answer that question fully, other than I know people are very angry about the situation with clean water services.
Ms. Treese, would you like the question?
Question, please. Thank you.
I recently read that clean water services costs will increase by more than 100%. What will your role be in terms of rate setting?
So thank you for the question. And I can tell you that right now what the Commission has approved is a process to establish the rates. The rates have not been established yet, and that process is not complete. But the understanding of what the needs are to provide the stormwater services as well as the sewage services are what we looked at to make sure that we have the right rate structure as we move forward. I'm not going to say that there won't be an increase, but I can guarantee you it will not be 100%, and it will be a reflection of what the needs are for the community. Again, it's important to understand that you need to have a system that helps you identify what the rate requirements are. Our system was outdated. We hadn't updated it. We did do that, and that's what was approved, not the rates itself. That will happen in about 2 months, I believe.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Ms. Treese. How can Washington County work most effectively with the city, state, and metro governments?
Oh, thank you for that question. It's so important that we work effectively because we haven't had, frankly, good relationships with our cities. I have put together a plan, a mayoral plan. I've worked with all the different mayors throughout the county to address what is the best way for the chair's office as well as the mayor's office and city councils to work together effectively. That plan was developed in part by the mayors. I have 11 of the mayors in Washington County's endorsement because of that plan. The same thing applies to Metro. I have worked hard at Metro for a very long time. I was the chair of MPACT at Metro. I've been engaged with Metro on our RWAC, which is the Regional Waste Advisory Committee. It's through those interactions that we establish the relationships with Metro that will help us look at long-term issues like land use that's key. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Camprath, would you like the question?
I'm good. I think this is where a newcomer can shine. I'm able to come in without all the baggage of the past, without past relationships that have not been good, meet new people, build new relationships, look at new ways of moving forward and working together without the past encumbrances. I'm sure that there's a lot of differences between cities, the county, Metro. There's a lot of different working pieces to that. But we all need to work together for a better Washington County, and I'm here to do that by building new relationships, looking at new ways of doing things, and bringing in new ideas.
Thank you. Next question is to you, Ms. Camprath. Do you support policies that encourage data centers in Washington County? Why or why not?
I do not support data centers in Washington County, especially put on 1,700 acres of prime farmland. I think that the bill to put the data center through was supposed to go through like everything else that gets shoved through with a super majority in Salem. But the public spoke out. They were too loud and they couldn't push it through. There's too much unknown. Too much unknown. I hear every day about toxic water, about everybody's electricity being, rates going way up to cover it. It's not a job builder. After the initial building of the data center, it's going to maybe employ 6 or 8 people. It's not a good idea for Washington County. It's not a good idea to put it on farmland. And I think that the public spoke.
Thank you. Ms. Treese, would you like the question?
One more time.
Sure. How would you do you support policies that encourage data centers in Washington County? Why or why not?
Thank you. First of all, as a policymaker, it's really important to understand where you have control and where you have influence. As far as our data centers right now in Washington County, there are none in the unincorporated areas of Washington County where this commission has jurisdictional oversight. The data centers that we have in Washington County are in the city of Hillsborough and one is being built in the city of Forest Grove. I believe strongly that we need more information. I'm looking to the Governor's Council, the Governor's Data Center Advisory Group for information. I just talked with members of the Hillsborough City Council about their approach. They're doing the same thing, making sure that they have the opportunity to get the good information, the facts, and understand what our needs are in Washington County and what the resource requirements of a data center are so we can make informed decisions for all of our residents in Washington County.
Thank you. Next question is for you, Ms. Treese. How would you meet the need for affordable housing while considering land use issues?
Meeting the needs of affordable housing is critical right now, and there's a couple different factors that are going on, and the one thing I want to highlight right now is that in front of the Trump administration at this time is a potential change to the HUD Section 8 vouchers. Currently in Washington County, what we do is if there's a household of 4 people, 2 are documented, 2 aren't. The only people that receive subsidies are the 2 that are documented in Washington County. The rulemaking at HUD is now looking at eliminating all subsidies if there are any undocumented in the household. I do not support that. We need to continue making sure we have those subsidies at the federal level as well as at the local level. The other piece about affordable housing that we need to do is we need to make sure we're looking at the preservation of the existing affordable housing that we have. It's too expensive to replace. We need to make sure that as those roll off of the tax records, we negotiate for new opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Camprath, would you like the question? Yes, please. How would you meet the need for affordable housing while considering land use issues?
Well, first I want to say that I care about affordable housing for all citizens of Washington County, not just the undocumented. There are a lot of people in this county that need affordable housing, and we can get to that by cutting the strangulation of red tape and regulation that is the policy of this county when it takes 9 jurisdiction permits to build a ADU in someone's backyard that costs $80,000 to build and $54,000 in fees. That's ridiculous. It's actually criminal. Imagine what that is for a house. We need to cut that. If we need to use home rule to cut that, we need to do it to speed up building. There is land to be built on. Not everybody wants to live in a box of an apartment complex. We need to look at building single-family homes that are affordable.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Ms. Camprath. What is your position on providing support for undocumented residents? Please explain.
Well, federal law opposes spending federal money on undocumented people in this country. This state has spent $1.5 billion on health care for people who are undocumented, while other people in Washington County and the state of Oregon are left without. I don't agree that that's a good way to spend our money. We've got tax-paying citizens, we've got veterans on the street in tents that deserve our tax dollars. A large part of every one of my paychecks has gone to pay for taxes, and I think it should be spent on paying for citizens of this county citizens of this state and county first.
Thank you. Ms. Trees,
Would you
like the question?
Yes, please.
What is your position on providing support for undocumented residents? Please explain.
First of all, I think we need to call out the fact that the Trump administration has made life in Washington County extremely difficult. Let's be honest about that. Let's talk about it in relationship to what's happening on our streets. Let's talk about it in relationship to what's happening in being able to exercise contracts with federal dollars. There's no question that this is a very difficult time. I supported our emergency action to support immigrants and refugees, and I stand behind that action. We need to take care of all of our residents here in Washington County, and it's very important that we understand that. I would refer back to my comment about the HUD vouchers. We are already making sure that money goes to the families that are documented for our HUD vouchers. Why penalize people who are in that situation because they don't match the values of this Trump administration? Thank you.
Thank you. I guess this question goes to you, Ms. Trees.
Okay.
Should the county play a role regarding care for kids during non-school time? Why or why not?
Well, first of all, let me call out Katie Riley in the room and thank you for the work that you have done, Katie, in relationship to after-school care for children and for the approach to making sure that our kids are educated across the board. It's important that we understand what our children's needs are from preschool all the way through high school and into college. We haven't done a good job. Our education system, we are 47th in the United States right now there. We have a lot of work to do in this state. I believe that we have to have state guidelines in relationship to the type of work that will allow for our education services to be effective, including aftercare work, including the time between the work that you're probably talking about is the time between middle schoolers and upper elementary and the time that they can go home. That is an empty void. That needs to be addressed, and I support that. The problem that we have at the county is understanding where the funds are going to come from and being able to make sure that we have that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm saying thank you to our timekeepers.
Ms. Camprath, would you like the question?
Yes, please.
Should the county play a role regarding care for kids during non-school time? Why or why not?
Well, if you're talking about vacation days, I'm not sure what you're talking about there, or between home and school. I think schools should be schools. They should be teaching children. We should get off scraping the bottom of the barrel of the education system in this country. Parents have responsibility for their children when they're not in school, and they need to take some responsibility, not push everything off onto the government. Sure, there should be after-school programs. I applaud that. A lot of kids don't have any options before school. A lot of children need breakfast. But beyond that, you can't keep dumping the raising of a family onto the county.
Thank you. And I'd tell you which member of the League of Women Voters submitted that question, but I think we all know who that was. Yeah. We have time for a couple of extra questions, so I'm going to ask you, Ms. Camprath, to answer this one. The county jail is aging rapidly and is in need of serious upgrade. What are your thoughts on how that upgrade should be accomplished, or should it?
Well, I know there's not enough money to build a new jail, and it's my understanding that the jail is half empty now because of staffing issues, that the money hasn't been allocated to appropriately staff the jail. If there is money to fix it and to improve it, you should do it while it's half empty. If you're not going to use it for jail, you should use it for treatment. That's a place where you can get people off the street and try to get them cleaned up off of drugs in a secure environment. I would say that we need to fix what we have before we spend millions and millions of dollars on a new building that we already can't fund to staff.
Thank you. Ms. Treese, would you like the question?
Please.
Okay. The county jail is aging rapidly and is in serious need of upgrade. What are your thoughts on how that upgrade should be accomplished?
Thank you for the question. The county jail currently is, as you heard earlier from our deputies, that the county jail and our patrol, our staffing is growing, is increasing. We're getting there. That's a good thing. We're opening new pods at the jail. We are still in a situation where the jail is not big enough. It is, as you heard tonight, it is per capita, it's the smallest jail in the state. We need to make sure that we are not in a situation where we continue to have forced releases of our people that have been taken to the jail to allow for space in the jail. That's not right. We need to expand the jail. We need to address these issues. And I'm working along with others to make sure we understand what the costs of that are going to be and how we can address that from a revenue standpoint. It's critical to the functioning of the county, and each and every one of us in here should be supporting that, because we need to be able to work through the justice system and have the appropriate resources to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. We've arrived at the time for closing statements. You'll each have 2 minutes for your closing statement, and based on the draw, I believe, Ms. Treese, you get to go first with the closing statement.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody for being here. I want to say that my commitment to you tonight is, as chair, I will keep making progress on the critical issues impacting us to keep Washington County the place we love. As chair, I will prioritize making progress on homelessness and wraparound services and addressing our housing shortage, a commitment to a robust and effective community engagement process that includes all residents in Washington County, ensure robust public safety services to keep our neighborhoods safe, to protect the diversity that makes our county a great county, to support and grow our local businesses and jobs to ensure economic resiliency, and to fight back against the cruel and racist attacks from the federal government and from Donald Trump. As chair, I will work to protect the Washington County from the impacts of this large-scale economic turmoil that's been created by the Trump administration by prioritizing the strength of our local businesses and, as a result, our economy. These jobs and our working families are truly the backbone of our county, and I'm the only candidate with the experience to build our local economy, our economic resiliency. We must stop this 6-year cycle of budget shortfall. We've cut $98 million from our general fund, and we must preserve our service levels for our residents. I'm proud to be endorsed by a majority of my colleagues on the Board of Commissioners and 11 of our mayors across the county. This reflects the experience and collaboration that I'm going to bring to this role. I'm also happy to have many union endorsements, including our local union firefighters at TVF&R and the union firefighters at the City of Hillsborough, the Northwest Labor Council, AFL-CIO, IBW 48, and our Washington County Police Officers Association, and many others. In combination, I do have the business community as endorsers as well. Please vote for me, and let's work together for the future of the county that we all love.
Thank you, Ms. Treese. Ms. Camprath, 2 minutes.
I'm not an entrenched incumbent or politician. I'm not running to protect the status quo. I'm running to represent the grassroots people of Washington County. I'm running to make a better, more affordable place to live and work for families and seniors. When elected, I will commission an audit by an independent external auditor. If Minnesota and California have taught us anything, it is that there is waste and duplication in government, and it needs to be cut so there is no need for new taxes or raised fees. We've heard about Washington County being the economic engine of the state. Under current policies, we've lost Tektronix, thousands of Intel and Nike jobs, and Columbia Sportswear has 1 foot out the door. The loss of tax base is unsustainable. We need to cut the red tape and regulation and use the county's home rule charter to do so, to encourage new business and economic growth. Keeping citizens safe is the first role of government. We need to stop cutting law enforcement to close budget shortfalls. Dropping low to no barrier transitional housing locations into suburban neighborhoods without their knowledge does not keep families safe. I'm running for Washington County Chair because it's time for new ideas and a new path forward for Washington County, and I'm ready to lead. I ask for your vote on May 19th. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, ladies. That was enlightening. It really was. I appreciate your civility. Now that's how a forum's supposed to go. But let's see how this next one goes, because we don't have 2 candidates, we have 6 candidates. So we're going to have to bring them all in. And who's going to go get them? Are they down here now? Y'all here? Okay. Ika, would you mind going down to the multipurpose room and gathering the candidates? I've been doing voters forums, candidate forums since 1992, and I don't believe I've ever done one with 6 candidates. So this will be new for me, folks. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Got it. I gotta have this hat back. It's an antique. It's a Trailblazers hat. Go Blazers. I wonder how they're doing. Anybody got a phone? Okay. Oh, okay. We're almost in place. With any luck at all, we'll be out of here by midnight. Okay, the candidates for the Washington County Board of Commissioners, District 4, are in alphabetical order: Steve Calloway, Kimberly Culbertson, Isla Hoffler, Anthony Martin, Paul Schaefer, and Kipperlyn Sinclair. And you're all here. Thank you for being here tonight. And we had a drawing tonight to see who would go first with the 2-minute statement, an opening statement, and Paul Schaefer got number 1. Your opening statement, sir.
Good evening. It's great to be here. It's great to be here this evening. Paul Schaefer. I'm not only excited to be here, but also excited to run for Commissioner District 4. I was born and raised in a small town in western Montana, not too much different than Banks or North Plains or other small towns. My wife and I have lived here about 30 years in Oregon, specifically Washington County. Now, even though we're both from Montana, Oregon is our home. And we want to see the best for Oregon because, like I said, it is our home. I'm a senior planner in current planning for Washington County, 30 years of planning experience. I mean, plus I'm still working. I currently work in current planning, like I said. I do urban land use review, but I've also worked in long-range planning. And long-range planning works very closely with the Board of Commissioners, as well as the Planning Commission. So I prepared land use ordinances, I wrote staff reports, and wow, time goes by fast. And so at the Board of County Commissioners hearings, right? I've never run for office before. This is the first time. Now, as a man of faith, my faith is very important to me, and some of you may be asking, why am I doing this? Why not just retire? Why do this? Politics is not easy. This is the first time. But for me, I believe that for such a time as this, I was put in this position to run for this office. I feel called to run for this. Again, I'm not a politician. I know land use. I worked for land use for 30 years. But I feel called to do this and to make a difference. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Culbertson.
I'm Kimberly Culbertson, a resident of downtown Hillsborough. I have been in Washington County for over 30 years. And I've seen it change from fields to data centers, and all of my experiences in Washington County have been at the grassroots with real people, with real concerns. I've been a board member of Habitat for Humanity for the last 8 years. We provide permanently affordable housing for people who really need it and families who deserve to thrive. Also, I'm a board member of the Hillsborough Downtown Partnership. We build small businesses up so that they can eventually scale. And we've done things with the Oregon Main Streets project that have changed the face of downtown Hillsborough. I'm on the Urban Renewal Advisory Committee. We're looking at the money to get those things done. I have been on neighborhood associations, and I advised people about organic gardening for 15 years at the farmers market through OSU Extension Service. So I know what people need. I know what people are about, and I really want to bring that to Washington County Commission. I really would like to see us more outward-facing, bringing more people in, and helping to find the best answers for the competing issues that we all have in Washington County. We're changing really quickly, and I want to be a catalyst for good change. Thank you.
Thank you. Isla Hoffler.
Good evening, and thank you for holding this event for us tonight. My name is Ayla Hoffler. I am a fourth-generation Washington County resident. I live on a 24-acre gentlewoman farm in the coastal range outside of Banks. And I am the only candidate that actually lives in the rural area amongst the 6 of us. I have 3 sons I've raised here and 12 grandchildren. I've served this community for 50 years. I started in 1976 with the Virginia Garcia Clinic when it first opened, and a program for women at OHSU. I've been a critical care nurse for 40 years, a health science educator for 30 years, and a chaplain for about 20 years. I got my degree at OHSU for nursing, my teaching credentials from PSU, and my seminary work for 5 years at George Fox University. I am not a politician. I'm just a citizen of the community. And I have been endorsed by 3 mayors in Banks, North Plains, and Gaston. The people that have endorsed me are farmers, loggers, well drillers, septic system people, and folks that get dirty for a living. I hope that I can bring transparency to this commission, and I would like to see us not only be listening but talking to you, that we have real live work sessions that accomplish things and not just give everybody 3 minutes to talk.
Thank you. Steve Calloway.
Thank you, and thank you, Washington County Community Outreach and the League of Women Voters for organizing this event, and thank you to TVC-TV for videotaping this forum tonight. I also want to thank my wife, Joan, for always being an invaluable source of encouragement, support, insight, and strength. I started as a teacher and principal, working in Banks School District, North Plains, and Hillsborough School District, directly with students and families, and that experience shaped how I lead, always planning, focusing, working, and preparing for the future. Always listening, solving problems, and making sure everyone has a seat at the table and a fair shot at success. I've served on numerous boards, including currently the Board of Community Action Organization, helping oversee Head Start and essential services for families who need it the most. As a Hillsborough City Councilor, and most recently during my 8 years as mayor, I've led through real challenges and everything from the COVID-19 pandemic to a devastating downtown fire. We kept our community strong, supported local businesses, and made sure critical services continued without interruption. I've also focused on building a strong local economy, and as chair of the Budget Committee, I helped keep Hillsborough financially stable as some other cities struggled. We expanded job opportunities by supporting small businesses, supporting new businesses through Centro de Prosperidad and Adelante Mujeres, engaged with key industries, and attracting new investment, strengthening partnerships with employers. I've worked closely with Hillsborough School District and Portland Community College to grow workforce training and internship programs so that local residents can step into good paying careers. We've invested in infrastructure, supported small businesses, and helped create an environment where businesses can grow and families can thrive. And as a father and grandfather with all my family living within a few miles, I'm deeply committed to their future and the future of all of our children and grandchildren. I believe Washington County needs a commissioner who understands how to balance economic growth with livability, who can bring people together and knows how to get things done. I've done that work, and I'm ready to do it for all of Washington County.
Thank you. Anthony Martin.
Hello. Thank you to the League of Women Voters in Washington County for having us here today. I'm grateful to be in front of so many people who are committed to the civic process. I want to start with my family. My wife and I live in Hillsborough with our amazing daughter, 2 dogs, and a cat. My wife lives with serious health challenges, which means I'm the sole provider for our household. And as the youngest candidate at 36 years old, I carry the same worries many of you do every month. Paying the bills, keeping a roof over our head, and making sure our daughter has stability and opportunity for the future. I know I'm not alone. That responsibility grounds me and keeps me focused on what really matters, building a community where families can thrive. I'm running because every family here deserves the chance to put down roots, raise their kids, and know they'll have a future in Washington County. A future where diverse housing options are within reach and utility bills aren't a source of constant anxiety. A future with good living wage jobs and a ladder of opportunity for everyone. A future where all in our community feel welcome, safe, and protected from grotesque federal overreach. That's why I've spent my career focused on turning good ideas into real results. During my 8 years as Hillsborough City Councilor, I helped establish Hillsborough's gigabit internet service and led the switch to LED streetlights, saving taxpayers $900,000 a year. I increased community engagement and prioritized sustainable planning. At the regional level, I designed Oregon's first utility affordability program for multifamily housing, securing millions in relief for working families. These aren't just politicians' dreams in a speech, but actionable ideas that led to lasting results in our community. As your next county commissioner, my priorities are affordability, economic development, and infrastructure. Each of these are focused on making sure that we lift up the most vulnerable and plan for the future. I have endorsements from labor, elected officials, and community groups. So tonight, I ask for your trust, your support, and your vote. So together, we can build the Washington County that every family deserves.
Thank you. Kipperlyn Sinclair.
Thank you. My name is Kipperlyn Sinclair. Good evening. And I'm a Hillsborough City Councilor. And I'm running for Washington County Commissioner, District 4, because I want to represent people in policymaking. SB 1586 was the line for me. When there was a lack of transparency and communication within the public, I sought to run for county commissioner because people want to be a part of the policymaking process prior to decisions being made. For me, local governance is about people, place, and policy. I am a Mexican-American woman with indigenous roots, and I was raised by 2 very strong women who held fiercely to their values. I learned early on that the epitome of success came through the safety and resiliency of food, water, and shelter within our household. When we talk about place, invest locally. Small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone of both our urban and our rural communities. These communities collectively bring in upwards of $40 billion annually into Washington County. I will pursue furthering access to capital improvement programs so that businesses have the opportunity to scale up. Sorry, that's very disruptive, I'm sorry. Have the opportunity to scale up and create greater aspects of workforce development to create greater opportunity throughout the county. And when we talk about human rights, I want to convey, as part of my lived experience, I'm so sorry, the numbers that distracts me, I'm so sorry. It's important that we as a community, regardless of a person's immigrants, okay, I'll get to this later. I'm so sorry.
Sorry about that. Rules are rules.
No, I appreciate that. Next time I just want to stop, and then I'll just stop.
All right, with your permission, I'm going to use the same order for the first question. Is that all right with all of you? Okay, good. First question is, what is your position on the county's role in providing mental and behavioral health services? Is the county providing the proper level of treatment for those people in need? Please explain. Mr. Schaefer.
As far as the second question, I don't know. I have not researched into what the county is doing, if they're doing enough. But I would say it's a very important service to provide for those needs, because I don't know where else they'll get those needs if the county's not providing for them. So providing services for veterans and seniors and people with disabilities, that's one thing I put on my flyer, because I think it's important for the county. Is the county providing enough? I don't know. But I think as far as being on the commission, that would be something I would look at very strongly to make sure that we are providing adequate service and adequate funds for those needs.
Thank you. Ms. Culbertson. Would you like the question? Good.
In Washington County, just at the jump. Symptoms are important to get covered, but if a person can go through a program many, many times, and if they don't have a decent place to live and they don't have dignity in their lives, it's going to be a recurring problem for the rest of their lives. I think that we can do better. I'm not familiar completely with the mental health services in Washington County, never having had to use them. However, I do know that we need to take care of our people better and give them more stable lives so that we don't have to use as much money to intervene. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hoffler.
Yes, thank you. Well, being a nurse for 40 years, I've had a good exposure to mental health issues in the county. I've worked at Hazelden with addiction, and I've worked at Coffee Creek at the prison. I've helped people get homes in Habitat for Humanity that were homeless. But I will say that the way our system is, I know there's a lot of people that fall through the cracks that should be getting help that aren't. We have to revamp the way we do this. I do believe that we don't have incentives for people to get better. Just putting them in a house is not enough. I would like to increase the staff of our efficiency and effectiveness auditors department and start going through every single program we have and making that sure I'm a good steward of your tax dollars, and that if we're helping somebody to get better, we got to make sure they really are. We need to look at the long-term effects of the way we're spending our money, and we do not need to be a magnet to bring everybody from Multnomah and everywhere else out here to get free services.
Thank you. Mr. Callaway.
Thank you. And do you mind repeating the question again?
Sure. What is your position on the county's role in providing mental and behavioral health services? Is the county providing the proper level of treatment for those people in need? Please explain.
Thank you. It is one of the core responsibilities of the county. And so I support what the county is doing, and I really want to recognize the partnerships that they have. And that is an effective way to make sure that it is being done in a timely manner and as broadly as possible, because we have folks who have to wait too long for services. So when we are able to provide the Center for Addiction and Treatment, the CAT Center.
Is your microphone on?
It is. I can speak closer.
Thank you.
So the CAT Center is a critical first step for folks to be able to come and immediately receive some support and help. With our partnership with Metro through the SHS bond, making sure that there are wraparound services for those who are leaving homelessness so that they are able to get the support while they are getting some stable housing. We also have the Family Peace Center, and that is a one-stop shop for families, for women who are experiencing abuse, and obviously mental health issues can be a part of that as well. So those are a few examples of how the county is partnering, and I support it.
We'll give you an extra 5 seconds for the interruption. Sorry about that. Anthony Martin, Mr. Martin, would you like the question?
Oh, nope, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So first, what I would say is my position is that the county plays a fundamental role in behavioral and mental health support in our community. That role is both federally mandated, state mandated, and also community mandated, because it is absolutely necessary for our community members to have a safe and healthy place to live. First, in terms of is the county providing enough of those services? The answer is no. I think that what the county needs to do is examine each of the programs that it's using, identifying metrics to success. So it's not necessarily getting everyone through, but making sure we provide the appropriate wraparound services for our houseless neighbors to make sure that they can thrive. It's making sure that those centers for addiction and treatment, the CAT centers, are fully funded, well maintained, and they are a support source for people who need them. It's also making sure we do things like expand the mental health response team in the sheriff's office and make sure that we are addressing in advance those problems and providing people resources that they need. Another place I would say that we need to invest more in is substance use support.
Thank you. Ms. Sinclair.
Thank you. I do support fully funding our mental health services, and as well as our supportive housing services, which go hand in hand. What we're seeing right now, there's inflation happening within our community, but what we're also seeing is people are struggling they're trying, and they want to have good livability here throughout Washington County. But as prices continue to increase, we need to think outside the box to create more diversity in our housing and job opportunities throughout our community so that people who want livability, it comes in different shapes and sizes. The mental health service aspect, we need to make sure that we're supporting that system through numerous partnerships so that they don't reach maximum capacity. And it's our teachers that need that support. It is our public safety departments who need that support as well. Thank you so much.
Now, with your permission, I'm going to start with Ms. Hoffler and go this way on the panel for the next question. Is that okay with everybody? Great. The question is, Ms. Hoffler, what is your position on providing support for undocumented residents? Please explain. And turn your microphone on, please.
Well, the law says that, you're supposed to be a citizen or have, your green card or whatever to be living here. So if you are completely an illegal resident, it is breaking the law. However, I will say that being that I've lived here for 50 years, I know many dreamer families who are gorgeous, lovely parents, worked hard here, have their TIN number, they pay their taxes, they've had children here that are citizens, and some of the dreamer families even have grandchildren now. My heart goes to this problem that all parties have created, and we keep promising these folks that we're going to solve the problem, If I'm a commissioner, I would like to enact the Family Restoration Act and immediately take care of the problem within the parameters of the Dreamers for starts. The rest of it is going to have to follow.
Thank
You
you.
can't do it all at once.
Thank
And
you.
I don't support people that break the law here. They need to go
Thank you.
somewhere else.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you for the question. I think it is absolutely critical that the county support everyone who lives here, undocumented, documented, and everything in between. I think what we've seen in the past year and a half is grotesque federal overreach in terms of arresting people, human rights abuses that are unacceptable, arresting people without arrest warrants, lying under oath. That is not acceptable, and the county needs to be able to step up. The county needs to step up by making sure that we have the sheriff's office separate from ICE as it is, but also we are documenting policies and procedures in place to where we're tracking ICE. We are ticketing them when they do illegal traffic violations because we know that's happening. When it comes to additional support for undocumented residents, the reality is providing good service to undocumented residents is providing good services to everyone in this county. We need to have a county that works for working families, that makes sure that we have good living wage jobs, we have housing that is available and affordable for everyone, and we have safe streets and protected natural areas.
Thank you. Mr. Callaway.
Thank you. Hillsborough is the most diverse large city in our state, and Washington County is the most diverse county in our state. Hillsborough is the most diverse county or city in our state, and Washington County is the most diverse county in our state. And we absolutely have to support all of the residents within Washington County, I believe, regardless of their immigration status. We educate their children. We need to make sure that we are not just supporting them at school, but when they go home. The trauma that has been inflicted upon so many individuals and families in our community is palpable, and it is long-term damaging. So we need to make sure that we are providing services and that we are supporting and also leading the way, making sure that law enforcement is within our sanctuary city laws, within our sanctuary state laws, and that we are partnering with those who live here and are also doing the protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Culbertson, would you like the question?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some really practical experience on this. I grew up in the beet fields and onion fields out in Malheur County, Oregon, and I went to school with kids whose parents had been braceros. And all of a sudden, after the war was over, they were no longer legal, but they had their children. I think that we need to look at the people who do the hard work for our society to give them a bit of grace and find a path to citizenship. It's likely to be a long, hard path, but as long as we keep families together and keep families healthy, I think it's worth the wait. So, as a Washington County Commissioner, there's very little one can do specifically about that, but I can be very supportive, and that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sinclair.
Thank you. Working families, regardless of their status, have the constitutional right to due process. And as a community, collectively, our community members and our elected officials have the responsibility to stand up and speak out in protecting public safety and human rights. And I personally, as a Hillsborough City Councilor, proposed that the Oregon Sanctuary Act be codified into local jurisdiction. And I pushed for Ordinance 6513 that now records all ICE activity when residents dial 911 to the city of Hillsborough. It is a community-facing tool for the public for oversight and potential litigation that holds transparency and accountability within our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer.
Can you repeat that question, please?
You betcha. What is your position on providing support for undocumented residents? Please explain.
This country was founded upon rule of law. I think that's important. And so I would say the priority needs to be with citizens, the residents of this county. But that doesn't mean I would not provide emergency service or medical services for people in need, whether they're documented or not. I mean, I'm not going to just throw them out. But I think the priority needs to be with the citizens, the residents of this county. Again, we have rule of law for a reason. And but at the same time, I'm not going to not care for people. Emergency service or some medical services that are needed, but their desire should be secondary to the citizens, the residents of this county.
Thank you. And now, with your permission again, I'd like to go this way on the panel. Start with you, Mr. Schaefer, and go that way. And the question is, do you support policies that encourage data centers in Washington County? Why or why not?
Data centers definitely are the hot topic. It's been at the last forum. It was at an open house I went to in North Plains a while back when they're looking to restart their planning efforts again. Everyone said no data centers. I think data centers are here to stay, good, bad, right, or wrong. But where do they go? Is there adequate studies to address any impacts and the like? Obviously, they should be on industrial lands, such as around Brookwood and Evergreen, but not the 1,700 acres that was tried to be brought in. I would oppose that, because once you have that farmland gone, you're not going to get it back. So, is there a need for them? Probably, but is there enough analysis and enough studies to know all the impacts have been addressed and mitigated for? I don't know. As long as there's adequate studies to say, yeah, we need these, here's how we address impacts, water, electricity, and the like, then you need to know where you cite them.
Thank you. Ms. Sinclair, would you like the question?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I oppose tax abatements to corporations and data centers. Washington County has a responsibility to create and define regulations on impacts of industrial growth throughout our community. Residents have the right to understand water consumption. They have the right to understand increased cost to energy. They have the right to understand real local job creation, and residents have the right to understand environmental impacts. That's why I, Kipperlin Sinclair, Myrna Munoz, who is running for Oregon State Senate District 15, and Tammy Carpenter, who is running for Oregon House Representative 27, started a moratorium on data centers in Washington County. We have received over 2,300 signatures organically because people have the right to understand what's impacting their livability versus economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Culbertson.
I have been one of the voices against data centers for several years, and it has largely to do with the problems that we've seen already in Eastern Oregon, which they were the early ones to accept that land use. The cancer diagnoses, the miscarriages, and the deaths flowing from those data center effluents are killing people in the lower Umatilla Basin. Now, while our soils and water table are very different, it's counterproductive to despoil deep, fertile soils, which are best used for varied crops, which allows for a variety of opportunities and the possibility of farming it again once a data center comes and is placed. The possibility for farming is foreclosed.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Callaway.
Thank you. The data centers that currently exist are within city limits. They're in Forest Grove and also Hillsborough. And so county policy does not trump, city decisions because of home rule. But I do think that cities and the county should be aware of zoning issues related to it and also the incentives that are offered. I think the incentives that are offered need to reflect our community's values, and if they don't, they should not be extended or offered. I would highly encourage the strategies that have been used in Hillsborough, where Solar World closed, and there was a data center that was built there on a brownfield, and so it saves farmland. It also repurposed an industrial site, and it did it with less water consumption than was necessary with Solar World. So that is what I would encourage going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
Thank you for the question. This has definitely been a question that is on top of everyone's minds. I do not support policies that encourage data centers in Washington County. I think it is very important to note that the primary tax abatement most folks are concerned about is offered at the city level. Specifically, the City of Hillsborough City Council has the authority over that enterprise zone tax abatement. What I do support is making sure that the utilities under the county's control, sewer and stormwater, go through a cost of service study to make sure that we are truly putting the impact on those who are causing the cost in our community. I also would like to see data centers purchase green energy for any of their energy, and I look forward to seeing how the Power Act, it was recently adopted at the state level to really shift costs onto those industrial users. I look forward to seeing how that's going to manifest itself in the form of lower costs. At the end of the day, what we want here are good living wage jobs, and data centers just don't provide enough of those to merit tax breaks.
Thank you. Ms. Hoffler.
Having done land use work in this county since 1980s, I can tell you the first time I started addressing problems like this is when they tried to put a dump on top of Bacona, which watershed right into the East Fork of Dairy Creek. So sometimes the county can make really bad decisions. That's how CPOs started. Unfortunately, CPOs have now been eliminated in this county, which I'd like to rectify. But I am on the Significant Natural Resource Subcommittee for CPOs, and I stand for us to protect our sacred ground. Our soils are class 1 and 2. They're the most precious in the world. We cannot have these concrete and asphalt monsters come to our county anymore. We have 35 of them already. And you might test one of them and they all meet the DEQ, but what happens when you have an accumulation of 30? What are we doing to ourselves? They want to dig up underneath the Columbia River now to feed these beasts? No, we can't have it.
Thank
and
you.
I testified in Salem against it in person.
Thank you.
And I testified it in writing
Thank you.
against 1586.
Thank you. We will begin with you, Ms. Hoffler, going backwards. This will be our last question. Should the county play a role regarding care for kids during non-school time? Why or why not?
You know, that sounds really good, but we're not a nanny state. And after we staff our sheriff, staff our jail, make sure we have emergency preparedness squared away with our first responders, make sure that our infrastructures are serving the community, including rural living folks in this county that are so overlooked. We need to look at rural economic development and putting our money in some other places, including I'd like to see, if I had money to spend, I'd put a vocational school in every school district and start getting our kids ready for job readiness. There's some other things like equestrian facilities that bring $1 billion into this state every year. We have forgotten so many things like vine growers, farmers, and loggers. We've destroyed their work, and we need to help them too. It's not just about urban needs.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
So what I will first say is, should the county play a role in care for kids in non-school time? Absolutely, yes. How they play that role right now is making sure that we have safe streets so they can get home, is making sure that we have good public safety systems so that people can feel safe, and it's also making sure that our parks that the county controls are well maintained so we have places for kids to go. I also think it's really important on an economic development perspective that the county participate in economic development. In particular, one thing I think about is the city of Beaverton has a child care startup program, and the only limiting factor in that program right now is the lack of money. We know that Washington County is a child care desert, and child care is absolutely critical. So I want to see the county participate in that space to make sure that we're providing places for kids to be able to go, and we are helping incentivize good after-school time. I think it's really critical that kids have that option. It's not just for them, it's also for the family.
Thank you. Mr. Callaway.
Thank you. And the answer is yes. The details are, are where I need more information. But I will tell you, as an elementary principal, we made sure that we installed a track, and we had an after-school track club, and it gives me just delight that we had students who continued to run all through high school, and they got their start at the after-school track club. We brought in Don Cleland to do after-school drama so that kids would begin to do that in elementary school prior to going to secondary. Our county already does a great job through WCCLS in providing after-school programs, story times, and the like. And so there's one more way that we're already doing it. Our kids and having continued to substitute in our schools, seeing our middle schoolers go home at the end of the day, yes, if they can be productive and involved, absolutely makes a long-term difference in the choices that they are going to be able to make. So the answer is yes, but I need more details.
Thank you. Ms. Culbertson.
I have a little story about this. I was one of those latchkey kids. Out in Vail, the bus would take us down Highway 20 and drop us off. Had to cross the railroad tracks, walk a quarter mile, get the key from underneath the doormat, and get ready to, get dinner ready for Mom and Dad when they got home at 6 and 5 o'clock in the evening. That's not a way for children to live, and it's not the best way for children to learn. That's why I've been a very full-throated supporter of Washington County Kids. It's an initiative that makes allowances for out-of-school time activities, and it needs to get on the ballot. Let the people decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sinclair.
Thank you. I actually appreciate that story that you just shared, Kimberly, because it's a real thing. I also was a latchkey kid growing up, being raised by a single mother, and we depended heavily on our neighbors and to create that safety and accessibility of community. And so I do support the county providing services for childcare. I also think it's important. There's been so much isolation following the pandemic. Children want to be a part of a community. There is economic opportunity throughout neighborhoods that we can further programming with for child care system programs in addition that can create passive income, that could create that could create diverse income throughout communities and create safer opportunities for our children and for our residents alike.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer.
There's not enough information in that question to answer yes or no. I mean, play a role. What's the definition of role? What does that mean? I think more discussion needs to be, what is that? How broad is that? How do you define that? What I can say is each year the board adopts a work program that sets out the marching order for long-range planning for ordinances, issue papers, studies. So the board could put that in the avenue of an issue paper, study this issue, work with school districts, and ask them, are there changes to the development regulations that are needed to address their issues to, play the role? What code changes are necessary, if any, to help the school district meet the needs as described by the question.
Thank you. We've reached the point now where we're going to go to closing statements. Each of you have 2 minutes for a closing statement. And I just want to say that I thank all of you for being here tonight. It really is, I appreciate it. And it's really good for Washington County to have all 6 of you here. We're going to do the closing statements alphabetically. And I hope there's no qualm with that. But we will begin with Mr. Callaway.
Thank you very much. The election on May 19th is not about who beats who, but rather who serves you. And so I would encourage you to take your voter's pamphlet, which came in the mail today, at least mine did. Read through it, make an educated vote. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, or any of us. I can be reached at electstevecalloway.com. I'm very proud of the endorsements that I've received, endorsements from business groups as well as the home builders, the Metropolitan Realtors Association, the Willamette Women Democrats, the Firefighters Union for Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, as well as Hillsborough Fire and Rescue, the Building Power for Communities of Color, and the AFL-CIO, Northwest Oregon Labor Council. But the other endorsements I'm so proud of are the endorsements that I receive at the doors when I knock and engage with folks, even if it turns out that I'm knocking on the door of the child of one of my opponents. They're great experiences, and I am energized and inspired by what I experienced. So I would encourage you to reach out to us, and thank you again for being here tonight. The night is young, so please enjoy downtown Hillsborough, enjoy our eateries as well as our entertainment venues, and thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you. Kimberly Culbertson.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this bit of civics. I think there's a clear delineation between the various candidates here. We've got bosses, and we've got goers and doers. Several of us are goers and doers, and we get things done in our city and in our county. I would advocate for people who get stuff done rather than direct others to get stuff done. I would rather see that in our county commission, people who are unafraid to go to a CPO and talk about land use planning, people who are unafraid to have the common touch. And that's what I believe that I have to offer. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and thank you again to the League of Women Voters for putting this forum forward. Thanks.
Lila Hoffler.
Well, yes. I take an oath in every one of my professions to serve all people, whether it's being a nurse, a teacher, or a chaplain. And I take that seriously. Even my enemy is who I care for. I am ultimately accountable to the voters, and I want to be good stewards of the tax dollars. And sometimes we have to make tough decisions. We have to discern on how we can serve a variety of different people in this county, not just victims, not just one, section of our very diverse group of people. We have to look at our seniors. We have to look at our vets. A lot of things I feel are ignored here, and it's all about housing, and it's all about homelessness. And I want to see some diversity of how we help the people in this county do good. We need to help our children excel. Our schools and our grades in our kids' schools are terrible. We have to do something as commissioners to make a collaborative effort with our school districts. They're in our county. They are a part of our emergency preparedness plan. We need to do a little bit better work at figuring out how we're going to help people want to come to this county because the schools are good. That's a real concern of mine. And so when we make these tough decisions, I always agree, I believe that when people come together with differing opinions, if everybody walks away having not gotten all their way, we did a good job. That everybody left a little disappointed, but we got the job done. And I am a doer. My hands and feet are God's. And that's what I do, is be where I'm called. So thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Martin.
Sorry about that. I forgot how that works in terms of alphabetizing. Thank you all for being here tonight and taking the time to be a part of this conversation about our community. I want to end by looking forward, because this race is about outcomes for our community. On affordability, I plan to prioritize working class families in policymaking. I will work to create diverse housing options that are within reach of all income levels. I will also work to implement a utility affordability program for low-income families, since we know that utility bills are one of the biggest ongoing stressors of economically vulnerable families. Affordability also means using tax dollars wisely, and I will work to create a long-term plan for the county that right-sizes its budget. On economic development, I believe that every local government plays a role in creating living wage jobs and growing the economy. I will prioritize workforce development programs that build a ladder of opportunity for everyone, partnering with businesses and schools to increase workforce readiness and create a pipeline of workers for good jobs. I will also make sure the county uses its tax incentives in a way that aligns with community values, prioritizing job creation and reducing tax exemptions on uses that don't deliver enough for us, like data centers. On infrastructure, I will create a county with safe streets, protected natural areas, and beautiful parks. Infrastructure is fundamental, and I want to make sure we prepare to meet the needs of today and address problems instead of passing them on to the future. I will invest in transportation so that we have safe roads with fewer crashes and more travel options. I will use my experience as financial planning manager for Portland's $700 million sewer and stormwater utility to make sure that Clean Water Services is using money responsibly, charging fair rates, and preserving the environment. I'm not running to maintain the status quo. I'm running to focus on what the next 10, 15, and 20 years need to look like for this community. A county where working families can afford to live, where young people can build a future, where sustainability, economic development, and livability go hand in hand. If that's the future you want to, I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Schaefer.
Like you, I've dealt with decisions by the commissioners of the board, mostly as staff when I was long-range planning. And I understand and appreciate their responsibility to taxpayers and to those living and building in Washington County, urban and rural, small businesses, big businesses. I will take my 30 years of land use experience and leadership skills to faithfully serve District 4. Again, I'm not a politician. I'm new to this. But one of my things I will champion is listening to my constituents, whether it's urban and rural. In District 4, there's a large rural area, large urban area. So obviously there's a lot of competing interests, but I will listen to both sides, all sides, because I may hear things I don't know before, new things, new solutions to problems that we've had years or decades to worry about. So listening is very important. On my website, that my son made for me, paulfor4.com, Paul, F-O-R, the number 4.com. It lists my goals, things I want to champion and to really strive for. And the first thing was fiscal responsibility and accountability to the voters. To me, the budget is important. I think everything stems and flows from the budget. When I was first here, the board seemed to be more fiscally conservative with the budget, but the past couple of years, every year they start out $2 million short or $3 million short, or a couple years ago it was $20 million short. I mean, I know things go up, costs go up, but we need a better handle on the budget. And if we need to do audits, great. We need to be as efficient as we can. We will not be 100% efficient. No government will. But as long as that is our goal, to really strive to be as efficient as we can and fund those services that are essential, this county will be even greater. Thank you.
Thank you. Kipperlyn Sinclair.
Thank you. I believe that our community right now is at a crossroads between economic development and livability. I believe that we are at a two-pillar economic system that supports public administration and also advanced manufacturing and technology. We need to further diversify our community's economic opportunities for numerous people within our community. There is an aspect of agriculture that we don't even provide them a seat at the table. And when we talk about land use, which is our greatest asset, we are leaving out our rural communities from decision making prior to decisions being made. As your next commissioner, I will advocate to give principled dissent on the dais. Numerous times I've had to stand alone in saying no. I said no to SB4 when the governor gave a one-time waive to make a decision on 1,700 acres in Hillsborough. I was the sole no with SB 1586, where I gave testimony at the Capitol. Our representation here on the dais has got to be in the support of the people's voice. I am not a staff person. I do not work for administration or municipalities. I work for you, the people of our community who are at the top of the organization chart and who provide public funding. You provide investment in your everyday lives here in Washington County that you call home and that you build legacy in. You have the right to be the priority with your elected officials, and you need to hold us accountable. I believe that this election cycle is the last opportunity that this community will have to create real balance in the era of AI. And we need representation on the dais that represents the people. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Yes?
I have a quick comment. I just would like to correct Kipperlin in that she is not the only no vote. I voted no on 1586.
Okay.
I fought in North
No,
Thank you.
from the
I'm so
beginning,
sorry.
and I just want to make sure
yeah.
that that's corrected.
You know,
Thank you.
we've done it. It's done.
Yeah, no, I'm not debating. I want to be very clear. I'm talking about elected officials, people who
Okay.
are elected.
All right. Wow. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. I'm certainly glad I don't live in District 4 and I don't have to make a choice, but I appreciate y'all being here. The League of Women Voters thanks all of you for being in the audience tonight, and we thank TVC-TV for their technical expertise. You'll be able to see this forum again via videotape, or whatever we call it these days, on the YouTube channel for TVC-TV. And don't forget to go to Vote 411, that's the League of Women Voters pamphlet online, and we have voters pamphlets in the lobby. Thank you all, good night, and drive carefully.